Hey, Don here. Okay, going back with another live stream, and yeah, there it is. Yeah, the camera ought to be coming up. Um, that's what I'm going to work on right now. In my coffee maker on the left there, far left of the screen. Um, so I've got one camera in the kitchen and one camera in here, and I got my endoscope in here. I'm going there and show you what's wrong, and then I'll bring the lid in here. That's what it's going to be. So. I'll just go ahead and switch on over to cam 2 and go in there and show you, and then we'll come back in here. So I'll be on my way here. Okay, so I'm on wireless mic and wireless camera, so it should be all right. Okay, so the coffee maker, I can't see myself, you know, just see the coffee maker. The coffee maker, what it's doing, let's see, I'm going to turn this on so the grinder won't start. This is a Cuisinart. I forgot the model number, I didn't look it up. Just turn that off so the grinder won't start. You can see it should be on solid red. I imagine maybe you can hear that beeping. Let's see, now the only way you can stop it is to reach in here, and there's a little button that I don't know if you can see this, but this right here pushes down. It's a button on the grinder. It won't let it doesn't want the grinder to start with it open in case you had the lid off and you had your fingers in the grinder, you know, for safety thing. So what happens over time, you can kind of see it with it not shut all the way. Well, you can probably see it. That lid is really, really warped, so that button won't get pushed down. I don't know if that helps or hurts or what, that magnifying glass light. But if you, say, hold that down, now it's on, and it would be brewing if it had any water in it. See, now you can turn it off right there, no beeping, see? So this lid will come off if you get it in just the right place, and I've had them off. This is the third Cuisinart of this style I've had over the last 15 or so years. The longest one I had one last was about 7 years, and then 2 or 3 years, and then before they give trouble. And actually the others could be fixed. I just didn't ever feel good enough at the time to mess with them, and also forgot to bring any of my tools in here with me, except for the one. That's always a good thing to have. I shouldn't really need a tool. I think I'm just not in the right place. But this will come off. Let's see. First, let's see if I can see where I gotta have it. You have to have it lined up, and it'll just slide right out. Oh, it slides that way. I think I was trying to go backwards when I should have been trying to go forwards. Yeah, I think it's somewhere like right in there. Yeah, and you pull that way. So if you go the right direction, it'll come off. So the grinder lid stays on, don't need that. So I'm going to go back in my room to actually work on it. And I've fixed one of these before, is what I was going to say. And I'll show you. Okay, we're back in here, but we're not on the right camera yet. So what I'll do, doesn't matter if I cover it up, it's still super loud, isn't it? Cam 1 and endoscope. Okay, so yeah, you can see. Now I'm gonna put this camera down so that you can show. There, show where I'm working. Yeah, that ought to work. Okay, so you see that? That is the tab, or the poker that goes down and pushes that button in the grinder. in the lid of the grinder, which goes all the way through a hole that it sets in, and then pushes the button below. You know, it's an electrical switch. Now this screw I've already pre-found, and I want to see what size it is. I can tell it'll work because it just fits in there. Now the last one I fixed, I found a screw the size that it would kind of go in there like that. And when I went to screwing it in, and I don't want to use steel because, you know, there's lots and lots of steam every time you make coffee, and it's going to rust real quick. I don't really want any, and if this could, you know, what dripped off of here could drip right into your coffee, you know, that you're making. So I don't really want to drink any tetanus. I don't know that there would be, but you know, I mean, there's rust in pipes in our drinking water. Probably a lot of people have worse stuff. You know, they have lead in their pipes. You know, luckily, I think our town is young enough that we don't have that problem. But no telling what, you know, you never know for sure. But anyway, no use in doing it on purpose. The last one I used an aluminum screw. I believe the last one was actually tapered right here and a lot smaller of a hole. Let's see, so get that zeroed out. This is a dial caliper. Let's see. So that hole is 150 thousandths, which is 125 thousandths is 1 1/4 inches. So well, that's 1 1/2 inches. No, 250 thousandths is 1/4 inch. I'm sorry, my brain is completely gone. It's 150 thousandths. And when I used to work in the machine shop and stuff, I used these and I remembered all that stuff. Okay, so this, I'm going to do it up here on the fat part so it won't go down in the screws like that. Normally that's not how you're really supposed to measure. That's not supposed to be accurate enough, but we're not in the machine shop. We're putting a brass screw in a piece of plastic. So that is 160, so that's 10 thousandths over. That's actually really nice. That's just about what I need. But the last one I cracked it. So this time, let's see what the threads are now. I mean, the threads are a little too small for, if you got big threads, then, you know, it'll go down in there and you can really see, but it's not going to make it with just a little way in there, a little ways in there. Yeah, it went back to 150. So that's good. That means the inside diameter of that is pretty close to that hole, and I could kind of tell that it would work just by feeling of it. You know, I mean, sometimes you get lucky, you can tell. But I split this last one and ended up having to put epoxy on it, so I don't want to split this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this screw up before I try to put it in there, and yeah, I think I'll do it this way. I'm going to use these baby vice grips, these pointy baby vice grips. I got 2 sets of baby vice grips here. I'm going to put them like that, and I don't want it over tightened. I just want it to hold it while I warm it up. And then my screwdriver, see, I can still get to it, and I'll leave it in there. I'll just loosen it up or unhook, you know, unclip it, and I can turn it, hold. While it's hot, I need a way to hold it, right? So I'm going to keep the plastic away from, I thought about getting my torch and stuff, but my little propane, so I don't have a acetylene torch, propane torch, but I figured, well, really this lighter will heat it up just enough, and that would melt under that other torch if I didn't left it too long. So this way, you know, I can get it good and warm, but I won't, I'm not going to melt it, and I don't want to over melt the plastic. I just want it to be warm enough to kind of, you know, go out of the way of that plastic, to just move right on out of the way. So I don't want it red hot or anything like that. This is just one of those long lighters, you know, for lighting your fireplace or whatever, you know. I don't know how hot it is. Kind of want to know before I try it. If I had a little bit of water, I'd be able to tell. I should have put some water on my. See, this thing was pretty cold. It was outside, and it's like 35 degrees outside. It was out in the garage. That's probably warm enough. It's turning a little bit black, but I'm gonna hurry up and put a little water on here. I don't want to The other way I usually do it when I'm out in the garage is spit, but I don't really want to do that in here on this. Okay, it wasn't all that warm. I don't feel the warmth yet. I did wash this, by the way. It's coming up with some dirt. Well, that's probably from the flame, but the main I did wash it with soapy water, and I think if I'd have quit fooling around there, I would have just had it just right. I don't want to heat up the plastic because I'm scared I'll completely destroy it. It'll just warp and melt. So this time I won't even bother to flip it. I'll just kind of do it like this. And actually, I won't even try the screwdriver till I get it started, I think, if I can. Okay, I want to try it like that. Let's see. I'm not going to put it on the paper this time. I'm just spinning the thing. Oh, dang it! This one here pinches the living crap out of me every time I open it. All my other ones don't do that. It hurt. Wasn't thinking about it. Didn't expect it. Yeah, it's warm enough. I think it's maybe going to work. And I can always heat it again if it starts not wanting to go in there. And it's good and long, so it shouldn't fall out. It's about as long as you could get in there, I think. I might have to heat that head a little more. Let's see. Afraid I'll melt the plastic too much is what I'm afraid of. But the last time I was trying to be real careful and just screw it in there. Now that's where I'm afraid of it. Yeah, I want it all the way down probably. So let's see. I'm going to try this. See how that actually helps. I can see that in my video. I don't want to overdo it. Really don't know. My camera went kind of wonky. I wonder if yeah, it got pretty hot. I might have got smoke on the lens. It's all purple. Might have got heated up that lens. I heard something cracking. My gosh, I hope I didn't run my camera lens. But I can't operate on it right now. I'll try cleaning it here in a minute. I heard something. That'd be terrible. At least it's only a $10 endoscope. I think I'll leave it right there. Let's see, well, okay, that's just almost as far as it'll go. This one's pretty doggone warped, so I don't think it would go. I think it may have bottomed out. So considering that it's probably bottomed out, now let's see if this lens is just, it's as hot as fire. I think I was heating that lens and didn't even realize it. I may have ruined it. Because I don't even have the light on it. It's so hot, I can't really touch it down at that end. I heard something kind of popping. Normally I don't clean it with water, I clean it. I think it's, yeah, okay, it's working again. But that color, I guess the coloring was from the smoke. It's still too hot to hold on to. It gets hot anyway. When the light's on this thing, it gets so hot I can't hold it. But there you go. See, it's still sticking out a little, but in this case, I was thinking I wanted it screwed in all the way, but in this case, I'm going to go try it before I decide. I really hate to screw that in anymore. Try to. I really think it may have bottomed out. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I meant to really. I could have stuck a paper clip in there, you know, and measured how deep it was first, but measured it on the calipers and stuff. Trying to see if I did any damage to that. Oh, I think I cracked it. No, that's light. Can't tell. Let me look at it under my magnifying glass. Yeah. There's not enough space for me to get it in the right place under there, and I could move it, but it's such a horrible mess on the camera. My lighter moved on me and it was touching my desk, even it's not, you know, real hot, but I just had it hanging off the end of the table so it wouldn't touch nothing. And I thought I had those two baby vice grips. I think it's good. I think that what I thought might have been a crack was actually just let me see if turning on the light on that thing will help. There's so many reflections. Where's the light switch? Yeah, that light still works. I probably could stand some more cleaning. I'll clean it with the glass cleaner like I usually do here in a little bit. But yeah, it gets closer as I guess I'll raise it up some. There. Yeah. Right there's where I thought there might be a crack. But no, it's just a... Yeah, it's just the way the light was hitting it. So, good. I did it without cracking it. So, yeah. You got one that's that close to... The main thing is if you got some calipers, you know, if the inside of that screw shaft, you know, the part... smallest part of the whole thing, if it's smaller or around the same as your hole, then with plastic, and you heat it up, then you know the plastic will get out of the way when you heat up the screws. And I could have, if I'd have heated, I've done it before. This little thing, if I'd have heated that up, I'd have had it looking in like a pretzel in no time. So heating up the screw was better for me. Now, if it's just not too much, it'll be really good. And that hopefully will fix it. Let's go put it on there and see if that fixes it. Let's see. Camera 2. And we'll head in there. Do we still have audio? Or did we not have audio? Yeah, we got audio. It's just in a different spot on the screen. Okay. I'm going to head on in there with this. I still managed to burn my finger just a little bit somehow. I don't even know when I did it. Now I feel it. That screw head's a little sharp, but, well, yeah, I think I'll try to, I've got a small, I don't want it, you know, cutting that plastic as I open and shut it all the time. Let's go back to, oh, I was not where I thought I was anyway, at all. I was on the wrong camera view. What I was talking about is this, the slot, you know, on the screw head, the slot head screw, the slot on the screw head. I've got a couple of things that in here that should help me if I can find them. It's dark under there and I can't see a thing. There we go. Let's try this first. I think it would, that, or I was thinking our sand, oh, I have a, oh, there it is. That's what I was thinking about. Got things in here. I got stuff in here that I forgot I had. Well, that's my test light. Why did I put it in there? I got. I guess I thought that was a good place for it. I just about got lost. I forgot to put it in there. A little, just a, you know, well, DC test light. It's not AC. It'll light anything from a volt to 12 or maybe a little more. Just light up, you know. And I'm gonna put it. That I forgot it was there, and I would have never. I had it in with mine. I'm thinking that this old emery board is actually rougher. This is well, it's really a fingernail file, but it's too rough. It's no good for fingernails. I've been using it as a file for little things like in here in the house and stuff. But anyway, this is only a brass screw, so it shouldn't take a lot to I just don't want that cut in my, it doesn't have to be anywhere but right where it touches, actually, that I need to smooth up. Normally you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want a screw to be rounded off in there at all. You try not to use screws that are rounded off. But I don't know if that's, let's try this one. Maybe I should have tried it first. Oh, I think it cuts more than I thought it was going to. Yeah, it'll do enough. That's all I need is a little bit. Yeah, now it's not so sharp. It felt like it could cut me. It was so short. And that would have cut that button that it's supposed to be riding on. I'll actually wash it in the sink before I put it back on there now, but let's wipe some of that up. Okay, now put some of these things back in there too. Oh, I have another test light, a 110 volt. I guess I thought they went together, and maybe that is a good place for them, as long as it doesn't get lost again. Maybe this will, I'm going to put it back because maybe that'll remind me. If I can't find it for a year, I'll be really sorry. Okay, let's go to camera 2. I was almost heading in there with the wrong setup anyway. Okay, now. That's what had, yeah, because on camera 2, normally I can see that right away without paging around in the screen. Oh, my stream seems to be lost. But I'm making a backup video, so, you know, I guess you can't make, this time of day seems like every time I'm making a stream early in the morning like this, it doesn't work. YouTube must be, what is everybody in the world watching their morning YouTube or something? It doesn't even matter. If it's gone, it's gone, but it was just flat gone. It actually showed green though, if I remember right. So I don't know what was going on. Is it still working? Maybe it never went down, but I don't hear myself talking yet. But I see myself talking on my video. Oh, I know why, because I had to reload it and the video window was muted. I had to, okay, I had to unmute 2 things at the beginning there. Okay, what else do I need? I might need a tool, never know. And just take all these tools I have out with me. I shouldn't need one, but don't know. I got in there last time, didn't have one. Take my little magnifying glass. Okay, yeah, this needs to be together so somebody can make coffee this morning, not me. Okay, now let's see. It looks like it should work. Okay. Make sure my hands are clean enough to put it back together and not get it dirty again. Okay, now, just kind of get it the right angle and it just slides right in there. It just slides right in there. There we go. It's kind of neat how that does that, and then doesn't. I've never had them come off. I didn't know until the second coffee maker that they did come off. It came off by accident when I was working on it. Okay, now here we go. And it's, of course, it's still sticking up, but it's not going to quit doing that anyway. So even if it makes it warp a little more, it doesn't really matter. All it's going to do, what happens, I figured out, is, you know, this water heats up and makes a lot of steam. More from this pocket where you pour your water in than over here. As well, I mean, it's kind of both. You might think it's just over here coming there's a divider right here. This side is where it drips into the pot. And by the way, you can drop things, well, if you drop them, if you had liquid in here, it would go on into the pot. That's what I was talking about. Anything from up here would get on into the pot. Of course, with the grinder thing in there, which it has to be in there for it to run, you know, well, like if beans get dropped in here, I've noticed, you know, if you pick this up, they fall on down. But then this side where you pour the water, and what happened is it was just on the border of doing that. Sometimes it would act up, and sometimes, but most of the time it didn't because it was a warp, but not real bad. But a few days ago, I ran 3 pots of vinegar, half vinegar, half water, and then 3 of just water to clean it out, to clean the coffee maker. It had to be done. It was bitter, right? So that's what put it over the edge. But this is, they all do that. This third one I've had. Okay, but it just reminded me, I need to change my filter. This is the kind, and this is what makes your coffee good, is to have one of these filters. Now, I know some of them have what they call a gold tone filter, but these are paper ones, disposable ones that you throw away and get a new one. So they definitely, and I did, sometimes you can, sometimes I've noticed, because on accident I left one in there one time when I was cleaning the coffee maker with vinegar, and all the bitterness went away, period. But this time I went ahead and tried that because the filter wasn't very old. I'm getting a filter, and it didn't help evidently. I think I'm getting a filter out. Where's that box? Oh, I thought. Now I'm mixed up about what goes where. Here we go. I'm in the wrong spot. I didn't have to go to the bottom shelf. I just had to go to the second shelf. Right here is where I keep my filters. And I guess it won't be all that long till I'm going to end up having to buy some more. Let's see, how many more do I have? Last one I bought came in a bag instead of a box, but they are new. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So that's, I don't change them until it tastes bad. I never remember. So that's probably 3 months per filter at least, or more. Although this time it hasn't been that long at all. But when I changed the filter, I didn't feel good, and I didn't go ahead and change the clean the coffee pot, and it needed it really bad. This one, I don't know if you can tell by looking at it or not, but to me it looks dirty. But it's not working good, so I'm gonna throw it away. They're not cheap, and I hate get too close, you won't even see. I hate change them if I don't have to, but you do need to soak them down. Try to rinse all the dust, the charcoal. These are charcoal filters, so there's a little bit of charcoal dust in them. So I try to run water through it and clean it down as good as I can. They tell you to soak them for a certain amount of time, but I have just chunked them in there and forgot to rinse them, and I tasted something funny in my coffee. But if you rinse them, you don't. I've never noticed anything. Okay. I think it's going to be okay now. Good. I don't know if I got lucky on that screw. I had it in my computer box. I don't know if I put that in there the last time knowing that I might have to do that again, or if I just got lucky and I had that one screw in there. I may have just saw it one day and thought it might. But I was thinking they were much smaller. I was digging out screws, and I was looking for one that wasn't magnetic. And I saw that one, and I thought, well, that's brass. That's not magnetic, and it was. Sometimes they fool you because they're that color, but they're not brass. But that was actually a brass screw like you'd use to hold washers in your old-time faucets, plumbing faucets that have washers. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab this and take it with me. This camera, I don't know if anything changed. I unplugged it from the power just now. But, oh, the extension cord I had it plugged in is there. It was the one that the phone was plugged into, so I don't know. I think we're still up and running. So let me go turn the light out in here. It'll go for a while anyway. I think it'll go 10 minutes without any power. Okay, so that turned out pretty good. Now let's get back in yonder. Okie dokie, bombanoki. Hadn't said that in a long time. I used to say that all the time. I don't know where I learned that. That was something the old folks used to say, I think. Or maybe I made it up myself. I doubt it. Well, I can just, everybody's gone now that remembers that, so I can just say I made it up. Okay, so that's a lot quicker. Isn't it funny? I mean, now things don't go well. That's actually exceptionally well. Of course, that's the second time I've done one of those. But, well, wish computer work could go that fast. Computer work may be easy physically, but boy, it can take for frickin' ever. How many weeks have I been working on that DNS server? But, that should be okay for quite a long time, really, I think. Unless it decides to warp up a little bit more and get... Of course, it's adjustable. I've got almost an inch. I could keep screwing that screw back out a little more and a little more. I didn't like that the first time. I didn't want that to be warped, held open more, because I thought, well, mostly I thought dust getting into the coffee maker, but it was that way anyway. And the first one I did, it really did raise it up about probably a 1/4 inch, enough you could really see the difference. This one was already like that, and the only way it was working is I would set. Well, I have a thermos brand stainless steel that I bought back in the '80s, coffee thermos, about that tall, and with you know some coffee, about a half to a full of coffee or water. The other day there wasn't no coffee left over. I put water in it. We have two. I drink one kind, and everybody else drinks another kind. And well, actually, me and my mom drink one kind, and my brother drinks another kind. And anyway, I just filled it full of water and set it on there right around that area where the grinder is, and it made it work. And I had, you know, got up and didn't know I was out of it, and I was like, I went out looking in the garage because I thought, well, maybe I can get the lid off the other one that I fixed, and it's in a box in the garage, and it would still work if let's see, one of them I figured out. I don't remember when I figured it out, but I figured out that the thermal fuse has probably blown out in it. I actually figured it out when I learned that about our heaters, our Braun exhaust fan heater combo in the bathroom. One of them blew that thermal fuse, but it also the fan. I think the fan must have overheated it. It won't. You can stop it. You know, just it won't work. I had to buy another. I ended up buying a whole nother unit because it was cheaper. It was so much close to buying a fan was just so expensive that I just bought a whole unit. Well, then a year later, the next one went out. So now this time I'm buying a fan and try to get a different brand. They make crap fans. The first one we had lasted 15, 20 years, maybe even 25 years. But then in the last 3-4 years, they go out. A year is about as long as they last. And everybody on the internet's saying the same thing. They used to be good, now they're crap. So, and evidently most of them are that way, unless you pay about twice as much money for your initial unit. But if I would have changed brands, but then you've got to recut your hole. You know, I mean, I've already got a hole in the ceiling that I cut in there for that thing, that size. And so if you got to get one bigger or the same size, which that ain't possible, I've already figured that out. But usually they're like a little wider or a little longer, you know, one way or the other. You know, I never did figure out if I even found one that would work. I just got to try to, I couldn't think, like I'm doing right now, I couldn't think of the dimensions and look at one dimension and then, okay, now what anyway, and plus it was a whole lot more money, so, and taking that thing, the box out of the ceiling and then cutting in a new one, that's just more than I've been feeling able to do. I'm feeling pretty good tonight. I'm running all over the place. I've been, for the last month, I guess, I've been doing quite a bit better. but not every day I could be running around feeling better to be able to do stuff on the computer, but not necessarily feeling better to run around doing stuff. But I did good just now. Ran all over the place. That's nice. Okay, so I quit doing working on my server in order to do this. I really put it off almost too long. It's 5:34, and I don't know for sure, but somebody might get up about 6. I never know for sure. But anyway, it's done. It's ready to go. So when they want to make their coffee, it'll be working. And when I want to make mine again next time, it'll be working. But the other coffee makers is what I meant to talk about. One of them, I think all I need is a thermal fuse for it. And I bought some for my heaters and then figured out that the fan was bad. But they might be the same temperature. If they are, I can use one on that. But I need to buy a special screwdriver because it's got one of those, a lot of times they call them security or torque screws. But the thing is, they're like, I need a 10-inch screwdriver of a very small size, number 9 or something like that. It's 8 or 9 torque screw. And I never did buy one. The one I had in my Amazon watch list to see, it went up from like $4 to $20 or $30 now, so I have to find another one. It's been a couple of 3 years now. It's been 3 or 4 years since I put it in there. I don't know why they go up like that. You know, they're still available, but they want that much for them. It's the same exact product, you know. And then you can go look and find another seller selling a different brand or that same brand for a normal price. But and then the first one we bought, I think it was, it's the one that lasted 7 years, and it just started leaking water everywhere. And well, I figured out that it was the hose, you know, that goes. There's a hose. I think I found it on diagrams. There's a hose in there that runs the water from the reservoir over to the heater, or maybe from the heater up to the, to go in. I think it's from the heater up into to drip into the coffee pot. I think is what it is. The heat makes it travel up. Well, I think it's just cracked or, you know, of old age. But you need, actually, you can just go down to like our local Ace hardware. They have food grade hose of all, there are 4 different sizes, and you can buy by the foot. So that's not a big deal, but getting it apart again and feeling like working on it. So I haven't thrown those away. I plan on fixing them one day. But they usually always broke right when I felt horrible and didn't feel like working on them. And so we'd buy another one and put it in the garage for later, you know. Well, it's later, hadn't got here yet. But anyway, I've looked and looked this last time, especially for twice. The last 2 times I looked for other brands, but they either had, a lot of them are really even a little more expensive than the Cuisinart, or they just have terrible reviews. I found one last time I almost got, there was things I didn't, I want one, there's 2 things I want. I want an automatic grinder, and they didn't used to make many of those. This last time there were some with automatic grinders of other brands, like more of your common brands like Mr. Coffee or whatever. I guess Cuisinart's common now, but it wasn't to me when I discovered it. I never heard of it before, but it had good ratings way back years ago. And then the other thing I want is the water filter. And because that completely makes, like, that's 80% of your taste is filtering out the crap in our water anyway. The stuff that the charcoal filter can filter out. And that was the thing. Some of the other ones might, they were actually, you know, maybe $10 or $25 cheaper and had pretty good, about as good reviews as this one did. Of course, I know the history of the ones I've had too, so, but you know, when you buy something you never had before, you don't know but what people's reviews say. And, but I think I never did find one with a filter of a decent price. You know, another one with a filter was like a lot more. So, and I didn't want to spend more than $75, $85, you know. Let's see, actually, oh yeah, the first one I bought, I think I actually paid like $125 for it. That was when they were like, they were really dependable, and it was a hot shop brand back then, you know. I found out, like I said, I hadn't heard of them, but and there weren't any other machines of any less than maybe, well, I didn't look at anything $200 or $300, you know. But anyway, of anything at a considerable price that I would consider, that would do the grinding and had the filter for the water, you know. And then when I got the next one 7 years later, I don't think there was very many that did that. And then this time there were some others, but like I said, they didn't all do water filtering. And let's say they did have a water filter and they auto grinded, then maybe they had bad reviews or something, you know. Or some of them are just like a whole bunch of them. They're like 1 cup or 2 cup things, you know. I don't want that. Heck, this thing holds about 4 cups, and that's what I do. I fill that up. And it lasts several months. I used to fill this up and drink it all and then drink maybe another half of it. But now I fill it up and I usually, like, I've been drinking, I sip on it even when it's cold. And there's not much left. But that's from, I don't remember what time I got up, but I've been up, can't even remember now. I know I've been up 10 hours, 12 hours now since I made that, you know. So, anyway, there we go. That was something that, see, when I only worked with my hands and I didn't know a thing about computers, that's how I expect things to go. And if you do run into trouble, it's not a 3-week thing. It's maybe a 3-day to a week-long thing. Or it was when I was younger and I could do all that stuff. But computer projects, man, they're all 3 days to 3 months. I don't care what you think how easy it might look like it's going to be. Maybe that's just my fault. All right, well, I'm going to go, and I just thought I wanted to share that. That is probably the first thing that ever always goes wrong with these coffee makers, and it took me a bit of inspecting, and actually, I don't remember. It seems like I don't know which one. Well, I think the first time we figured it out. Yeah, I remember I was thinking there was a sensor. You would think maybe there's a sensor in the clip. And actually that thing was popping open. That front clip that holds the lid down, it would pop open all the time. So I thought there was a sensor in there, but I was looking, couldn't find any wires, and my mom had come in there. Of course, she don't know nothing about electronics or anything, but she's got common sense. She looked at it, and she was standing out there. She said, well, that thing's warped. And I hadn't noticed it. And then somehow after realizing it was warped, okay, there's no switch in that. I finally traced it back to this thing sticking down, mechanical thing sticking down. I'm looking for electronic switches hidden somewhere, you know, and it was a mechanical thing sticking down, pushing a button, pushing another stick down inside of that. I didn't show that because I didn't it was just too much extra camera work to try to show that. But there's another stick, you know, kind of like a Phillips screwdriver. It's sticking. Okay, here's the one on the lid, and then it's punching down on one right here, and then there's another stick below that going on down, punching a toggle on, toggle. Well, it's not a toggle on, toggle off. It's you push it down, it connects, and it's a spring switch. Push it down, it connects, and it comes up, and it disconnects. So down inside there, and at first I thought it was corroded, and one time I sprayed electrical cleaner. Actually, I sprayed electrical cleaner in there one time. I still hadn't, I guess before I figured out it was just the warpage of the lid, and it helped for a day or two, and then it was back to being screwed up again. I thought maybe it was getting corroded, because I thought, okay, well, the way that's made, it's going to get moisture in it, you know, from all the steam inside of there. And once I figured out, you know, that switch just needed to be pushed down just a little bit further. It's got some tolerance, you know, so it has to really get pretty well warped before it quits working. It's got, you know, I'm sure it's like probably has a reed switch in there, spring, kind of like a reed valve, but so they push, you know, they're pushing down on it up here, and so it's springy, and so, you know, until that gets up too high, then it doesn't let go. And I mean, it could still be touching it, and it lets go. Well, either way, you can't tell because you can't look in there. But anyway, I guess that makes sense. That's probably the kind of switch. Of course, it's a lot smaller than my fingers and all that. But anyway, once I realized what was going on, I realized that little dauber sticking out of the lid, it needs to be longer, and it didn't need to be a lot longer. Just about the thickness of a screw head. It does the job. Actually, on that one, I think the way that screw head landed was just about right. For judging by, it was warped about probably 3/8 of an inch gap. I mean, that's about how much of a gap that thing is. On this side, it's down, but on the side towards me, when I was standing there, that's where the gap is. And so you would think that shouldn't disconnect. The switch way over there, it's really kind of in the middle. It closer to the other side than the middle, I think, but it does. So anyway, that's fixed, and hopefully it lasts. Works good and lasts a long time. All right, I'm going to go because I want to get back to work on the server now.